Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly oracle card reading. And this week I thought I'd kind of branch away from my tarot decks and use an oracle deck for a change. Whoa, okay, that one flew out of the deck, so I've got to include that one. So I'm using the Vintage Wisdom Oracle by Victoria Moseley, and I'm going to start by just drawing 3 cards. And my intention with this reading is to get kind of a broad overview picture of the upcoming week, so we can understand some of the patterns, the energies, and opportunities that are going to be coming up for us. So the first card, which is the one that flipped over when I was shuffling, this represents Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. And I'm just going to straighten out my camera here. Okay, so for Monday and Tuesday, we have intuition. And actually, this card really reminds me of, oh, I'm just noticing there's so many fruit flies flying around. I hope my camera doesn't pick them up. I have a lot of fruit and vegetables sitting on my table, and they're attracting clouds of fruit flies right now. So this card reminds me of the High Priestess in like a traditional tarot deck, or even the moon, kind of like I would think even maybe like a melding or a combination of the High Priestess and the moon. So we've got intuition for the beginning of the week, and this card is all about, basically it's here to remind you to connect with that inner part of yourself that is what I would call kind of your inner High Priestess. You know, the part of yourself that is very intuitive, the part of yourself that is able to read between the lines and see the big picture and pick up on kind of the underlying current of life. And this is going to be important for what lies ahead this week. So the more in touch with your intuition you are, and the more connected you are to sort of your inner High Priestess, the easier this week is going to be. And I shouldn't say the easier this week is going to be, it's more like the more magical this week is going to be. So the more you'll be able to spot opportunities, you'll be able to enjoy yourself more, you'll be able to just really participate in the magic of life if you're more connected to that part of yourself. So beginning of the week is a good time to pay attention to your intuition, pay attention to your dreams, the vibes you're getting, the feelings you're getting, and also pay attention to your yearnings, because I think that is part of our intuition, our imagination and our creativity and our yearnings and the things that we want to do and places we want to go. So pay attention to those as well, because those are gonna guide you along your path. And I think that there's all different ways that you can connect with your intuition. I'm not going to go into it in depth right now, but I think meditation is a good one. I think anything that you're doing that's creative, something where you can kind of get lost in the process, is actually a good way of kind of connecting with that part of yourself. Anything that you can kind of lose yourself in is a good way to connect with your intuition. Okay, so moving on to Wednesday and Thursday, so the middle of the week, and we've got ancestors. This is an interesting card. I feel like it could have multiple meanings here. So the most obvious meaning that I'm getting is that you might be planning a trip to visit family, or there might be a dinner or some kind of get-together celebration where you're going to be seeing your family and connecting with your ancestors. Another thing that I'm getting from this is that we often overlook the fact that we carry within ourselves the same DNA as our ancestors, and often there's things imprinted in that DNA like trauma, dreams, hopes, all kinds of experiences that our ancestors had, and we sometimes kind of forget that. And I feel in some ways we're sort of like carrying on a certain legacy, or they're passing the torch to us. And so any kind of challenges that they were working on in their lifetime that they maybe didn't resolve, I think gets passed on to us for us to heal and to resolve. And I think that's an important thing to kind of take into consideration, is that your problems and your challenges and even your hopes and dreams aren't always 100% yours. They're often someone else's, and maybe they weren't 100% that person's either. They're, nothing is entirely our own. I think, we're all part of something bigger in some ways, and even though we're individuals, we also have that kind of connection to our ancestors and to the group. Okay, so I think just connecting this back to intuition, I think these two are very much related. I think the more intuitive you are, and the more in touch with that part of yourself, the more you're going to be able to identify what some of these connections are, and what this legacy is, and what kinds of challenges that you've kind of taken on from your family that you're working on to heal. And then as we get to the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we've got Power. This is such an interesting card too, actually. It's funny, I don't often get these cards when I read with this deck. I always get this Intuition one. That's a common one that comes out, but I don't often get these other two. So at the end of the week, we've got Power. And if you look at this card, looks like there's like baby leopards. There's like the big cats, and the woman has wings, and I feel like this symbolizes, the ability to fly. And to me, the big cats always symbolize power, even though these big cats are smaller. And I feel like this power is so connected to the other two cards, and I almost can't just talk about this card alone. I keep wanting to bring in the other cards, so I'm going to do that, and then maybe I'll be able to talk about this card on its own. So I feel like if you're able to really connect with your intuition, and if you're able to, I think really what this card is saying is that this week you might be working on healing some things from your past, and not necessarily healing, like that makes it sound like something negative is going to happen, and that's not the case. It might also be you take a trip down memory lane. That could be another meaning of the Ancestors card, is that you take a trip down memory lane, remembering some of your family members, or even researching your past. For anyone who's done work with like family trees and stuff like that, or traveling to where your great-grandparents lived or grew up, and doing all that, it can be a very interesting process. And I feel like that's another kind of thing that this card is symbolizing, and you really learn a lot about yourself through doing that research and that process. So I feel like with the Power card, a lot of power can be had from understanding where you came from, and understanding who you're related to, and what your family's story is. There can be a lot of power that can be had from that. It's almost like, in a way, you're gaining more knowledge of yourself, more self-knowledge. And at the same time, the more in touch with your intuition you are, and the more comfortable you are with that aspect of yourself, again, the more power that you will have. So I feel like overall, this is actually going to be a very powerful week. There's a lot of inner work happening here. I feel like I say that every week, but there is a lot of inner work happening here. And I feel like ultimately the end result is feeling more empowered and more solid and stable in who you are as a person, as well as the direction that you're going in your life, and what path you're taking. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Kate. I'm from dailytarotgirl.com. And as always, I always invite you to share your own interpretations of these cards. So if a particular card jumped out at you, or if something, if you had an idea or something came up for you when you're watching this reading, please feel free to share it in the comments below. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful week.